In today's video, we're going to continue with my summer Christian reset. I am just a couple weeks away from the beginning of school, and this always feels like the year end, and September is the beginning. If you are new, my name is Lorianne, and I am a Christian single, living life. I teach part-time, but September always seems to me the beginning of the year. January does too, but September always seems to be the beginning of the year. And so August, I often kind of get myself ready by decluttering, which I did last week. I am still decluttering a couple places. I'll give you an update in a couple weeks. But today's video is all on the digital decluttering. Why do we need a digital declutter? I think a lot of us know, but I'll just say it anyways. We have so much noise in our heads, and a lot of it comes from the computers and the phone and the tablets and all this stuff. And Proverbs 4:8 talks about whatever is true, whatever is right, whatever is noble. I don't have my Bible in front of me, I'm sorry. But it lists off all these things, and it says, think on these things. There are some good things on the internet, but there is a lot of junk on the internet. And it's not just internet, but our emails and our photos and all this stuff starts to clog up our brain. And it is really hard to relax. It is hard to just be quiet. It is hard to do all these things if you want to have a slow life. This is just too loud. All this stuff. I keep pointing here. I don't know if you can see my computers. I have two open right here. But recent research has talked about that digital decluttering helps reduce stress and anxiety. It helps us to focus better because we have fewer things screaming at us. And the big one is probably it enhances sleep. So many people take their phones to bed, tablets, they have TVs in their room, and I'm not judging. I'm just saying that a lot of that affects our sleep. So we're going to go through a couple steps on how to declutter. I have never been able to do this in a day. I don't think you can do it in a day. No, but I have a lot of stuff because I have not only my teaching work, but I have an online business. And so I've got a lot of stuff that I get through. And digital declutter is not a one and done because the emails keep coming. And the photos, if you're taking a lot of photos on your phone, they keep coming. So it is something that you need to kind of add to your life, a declutter time, maybe every season or every month, depending on how often you are using technologies. So number one is to declutter your inbox. I don't know about you, but I have 4, maybe even 5 emails, but I work off of 4. I have my personal one, I have a business one, I have an email that stays really small because it's associated with my email list. So it stays like 10 or under in each month. And then I have what I call the junk email. And the junk email is an email that I give people or companies when I don't really want their stuff, but I'm thinking about looking at their stuff. So I have that email, but that email gets huge. So between them, I like to have a number in my head, and I'll share it with you in a sec, and it has to stay under there. But what ends up happening if I'm not paying attention, it suddenly climbs into the hundreds. And I remember seeing a coworker who says he doesn't even read emails, and he had over 11,000, and I just literally, right? There was a time when I wouldn't go to bed unless I had a 0 inbox. I gave that up a long time ago. Yeah, people work different hours and everything. I just don't do it anymore. So the biggest thing is when you're going through email is to unsubscribe from those emails you just stopped reading. And even if it's been 2 or 3 days and you haven't opened one, you're just deleting them, just unsubscribe. Get rid of that noise. Get rid of those. Make sure your notifications are also turned off. But I personally like to see my inbox at 50, because 50 is how many Gmail will allow on one page. And that way I can see them all. And I use the stars, I color code things, and I have labels on the side. Because you can easily move things into files and things like that. I utilize all of that because, again, I get just too many in a day. I look at 3 of my emails every day at one point, but again, I'm trying to not look at them all day. That was my zero box mentality, that I had to look at my email all the time, and it was just too distracting. And so now I tend to look at them in the morning, and then again around the dinner, just around before dinner. And then I don't look at them. And I try to tell my friends, I'm not looking if you're emailing me at 8 o'clock at night. And I have no notifications turned on. Sorry. Phone me if you need to talk to me. Okay. Delete old emails. Some people keep them. If you have not opened them in the last 6 months or more, just get rid of it. Unless it's something super important, then deal with it. But don't just let it sit there, because it will nag at you. It's this noise. Okay, number 2 is a big one for some people, and that is social media. Thankfully, social media is one I've been able to get a handle on, but I occasionally fall off the wagon and I will spend a day or a couple hours scrolling. But for the most part, I am not on some things, and it's hard because I do get DMs, direct messages, sent to me through Instagram, Facebook, and my family members and relatives are on Facebook, so I am on Facebook at least once a day. Instagram I just look once a week. But again, sometimes I just scroll. But it's so much better than it used to be. Again, unfollow. If you're scrolling because you're not interested in what you're seeing, unfollow it. And so I found, and I heard this from someone else, that if you click the hide enough times, you won't see as many ads. And it's true. I hit hide, irrelevant, irrelevant, and I still get them, but not near as much as I used. If you want to be on social media, then only follow accounts that bring value to your life. Remember, looking back at Philippians, whatever is true, whatever is right, whatever is noble, whatever is excellent or praiseworthy. Think about these things. So another verse that comes to mind is Psalm 19:14, which says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Lord." What are you spending your eyes on? And I am not perfect. I am not speaking from like I've got this all together. I make lots of mistakes. But if I'm trying to live in more intentionally day by day, I need to improve on these things. I need to make better choices. When I'm tired is often the time that I might scroll, right? I know what my triggers are. So I need to make sure that I exchange that need to maybe scroll for something else that I can still do while I'm tired. I know that going back to school in September is exhausting. All the back to school, starting routines, teaching routines, all that stuff is mentally exhausting. And so I need to come up with a good plan. I actually bought a couple new puzzles. Actually, I didn't even have to buy them. I won a gift card to a bookstore here in Vancouver called Kids Books. I got a book for class for the kids, and then I got 2 small 500-piece puzzles. And if I can keep one out and the cats don't get at it, that is something I'm going to try and do. It's really interesting if you study Paul's letters to the various churches, Ephesians, Galatians, Philippians, Colossians, he talks often about this exchange, So put away this, put on this, okay? It works the same thing with our thoughts, okay? I believe it's in Corinthians that you take every thought captive to the glory of God. In order to take that, right? There's an exchange. So you've got to release and get rid of that bad decision and bring in or put on a good decision. That makes sense? Now, here's the big one for many of us. I think especially if we're older, grandchildren, family, photo organization. I can tell you right now, I don't have a foolproof system for this. I don't even know how many thousands. I know I'm over 7,000, but thankfully they're not on my computer. They're on the cloud. And I do have them, most of them. I would say about 80% of them are in files with the year. That's it. But I know there's like 10 photos of the same activity when I really only need one. Right? Don't get rid of all of them unless they really don't have any significance to you anymore. It's doing all that Swedish desk cleaning a couple months back made me realize that what is important to me is not necessarily important to anyone else in my family. And if I choose to get rid of the photos, I don't think anyone's going to come look for them. They might. My parents, when we were cleaning this home, my parents had scores of photos in boxes, in photo albums, and we got rid of probably 60-70% of it. And there's still 2 boxes that I'm going to go through. Mine, another family member and I are going to try and create a family book, and that's it. And then they're going to go. He thinks he's going to keep them. If he wants to keep them, that's his business. Delete duplicates, delete screenshots, especially if it's coming up, it stays on your computer as a screenshot. Either label it and rename it by right-clicking or get rid of it. You might want to keep, if you're going to maybe try and organize them, you could put them into like family names. You can sort them by family names. You can sort them, for example, if I have pictures of my immediate family, I have family 2025. If I have ones of friends 2025, right? Trips, I name the trip and the year, right? So I have those type of files. But it's something I want to clean up. I can't imagine someone assuming 8,000 photos and counting. And the fourth one is your home screen and your apps. So when you open up your computer or your laptop or your tablet or your phone even, how many apps are screaming at you? I recently changed my phone and I realized I had probably at least 20, I think it was 22 apps that I wasn't using and I hadn't looked at for the last year. Delete, 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 delete. Get rid of them. Clean your phone. I'm still one of those people that use my phone. You can create your own wallpaper. You can use the wallpaper that I have a Mac, so I can use the wallpaper that Apple provides. I uploaded a photo recently of Mount Baker, which is where I live, right, in Canada, and it's not the best picture, but it's my picture. And I like it. It's fine. But yeah, create some sort of calming wallpaper for yourself. One of the biggest things when I was talking earlier about exchanging, the concept came up even within my digital life. How much of my life do I want online? And years ago, I used to bullet journal. I used to bullet journal my to-dos and all sorts of little things, reading and whatever. And I made the decision early this month to go back to bullet journaling. The initial concept that was put out by Ryder Carroll, and I am right now I'm about halfway through his book. I just wanted to see if it was something different, but it is very straightforward. And I don't know if you're the type of person that likes to-dos or you have a to-do list. Let me know down below in the comments. I love to-do lists. I still need to-do lists because I have too many things on my plate, right? This week alone, I had a girls' dinner Monday night. I had a family post-bridal tea yesterday. I'm going to school tomorrow. There's things happening. And if I don't put them down somewhere, I will forget because there's just too many of them. Picked up a couple bullet journals. Bullet journals are where the pages have the dots on them. But I just, like I said, just started redoing this a week ago. And so I just have done a cover page. I've done a calendar, the month of August at a glance. And this is where I've got my list of things where I'm going and doing whatever. I've got my list of routines that I like, and I've even got the days so I can do it kind of like a habit tracker. I've got this is my reading. I've already redone it. You can see how a little warped it is. It's because I started one, didn't like it, made a new page, glued it on top of it. So I'm still working through this. These are my daily tasks, and I don't put my work ones in here. I'm still working on that. I'm trying to figure out whether I should put my work ones in here or whether I put them in a different journal. I still have my journal that I just write in the morning, but this now sits on my night table and I write things down as well in there so that I don't have to carry that journal around. I'm still working that kind of stuff out, but that's sort of, for me, I'm trying to be intentional about not being on my phone and not being on internet. And this is more peaceful for me. I like this. I can even be a little bit creative, put some stickers in it, not get too crazy with that, but it's something that I can enjoy doing. If you are semi-retired or retired or working, let me know what you use to keep your thoughts organized. Are you a online, offline, hybrid type of person? And if you have apps that are calming for you, I'd love for you to share them down below. Or even, if you do bullet journaling, something like that, I'd love to hear about it. I do read as many comments as I can. I often go back to some older videos where there's comments and I reread some of them. I pray when people ask for prayer. There are so many lovely, lovely people who are sharing their testimony of what God is doing in their lives, and it is wonderful. This community is a safe place. We try to make it as safe as we can for you to share. And the biggest thing that I'm reading and I'm sensing in some of these is how lonely many of you are. And loneliness is hard. Loneliness is hard. Some of you have lost your spouses. Some of you have lost dear friends. Some of you have lost children. And grief is very real, and grief is, it doesn't have a final point to it. And yet God's presence is always, always with you. However, and I apologize now if this steps on toes, we are not meant to do life alone. When God created Adam, he brought a helpmeet, is the Hebrew translation, a helpmeet for him, because man was not meant to be alone. God created us for him, to have relationship here you'll see different examples in the Bible of where God creates opportunity for relationship. And we need to be in relationship. And if you are not involved in the church, please get involved in the church. Now, I'm not saying you live there, but find a seniors group. Find a Bible study group to belong. Bible study is so important, but we learn even more when we do it in community. My sister and I were just recently talking about this because there's times in my, seasons of my life where I haven't participated in we call them home groups, a home group, because I just rather study at home. But I learn more when I'm interacting with someone else, because they may say something and I'm thinking, I don't know if I agree with that. And then we start challenging each other and looking through the scriptures, right? We need each other, okay? We shouldn't be developing our own individualized Christianity. Christianity was about fellowship, redemption, resurrection, fellowship. And so I highly, highly encourage you that if you are feeling lonely, that you would get out and seek other people. You don't have to go out and seek people to evangelize unless you feel God calling you to do that. But get out and talk to people. Communicate, fellowship with one another, feast with one another, invite an old friend over for dinner. And I know some of you are housebound for various reasons. Then invite someone over. Use the phone. Let's kind of take a risk and step out of our comfort zones and connect with people. I want to thank you for joining me. Thank you for connecting with me. I love connecting with you. And if there is a type of video regarding faith or decluttering or living life over 50 that you want to see, please feel free to pop it down below. And if you want to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell, because I have a friend who I did not know was subscribed to me, and she says she doesn't see my videos pop up. You need the notification bell on, okay? So, dear friends, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.